The door opened, and what I saw stopped me in my heart. A massive 130-pound Rottweiler was standing over my newborn baby's crib, his giant head lowered, his breath visible in the cold nursery air. And in that single, frozen moment, every warning I'd ever heard about dogs and babies flooded my mind. But what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and family. You know what breaks my heart? Right now, thousands of you are watching this story, feeling exactly what I felt in that moment. The fear, the hope, the overwhelming love for both a child and a dog. But I still see so many of you haven't subscribed yet. If this story is already touching something deep inside you, if you can feel where this is going, do me one favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. Because what I'm about to share isn't just a story. It's a testament to the kind of bond that most people spend their whole lives searching for. And if you're still here with me, you deserve to be part of this family. His name was Bruno. We'd adopted him 3 years before my daughter was born. A rescue Rottweiler with a past we'd never fully know. Scars on his muzzle, a tremor in his left ear, and eyes that seemed to carry memories of something painful. The shelter in our small town told us he'd been abandoned twice, once as a puppy, once as an adult. Both times left chained in a yard. No explanation, no goodbye, just alone. My wife wasn't sure at first. A Rottweiler with a baby on the way? Everyone in town had an opinion. My mother said it was reckless. My best friend sent me articles about dog attacks. Even our local vet raised an eyebrow and said we'd need to be very, very careful. But when I looked into Bruno's eyes that day at the shelter, I didn't see danger. I saw a soul that had been waiting for someone to choose him, really choose him. The pregnancy changed everything. As my wife's belly grew, Bruno transformed. He stopped sleeping in his usual corner. Instead, he'd position himself at the foot of our bed, his massive head resting on his paws, always watching, always aware. When she'd get up at 3 a.m. for bathroom trips, he'd follow silently, waiting outside the door. Not intrusive, just present, like a guardian who'd been assigned a sacred duty. I'll never forget the night her water broke. The chaos, the panic, the rushed drive through our quiet town to the hospital, and Bruno watching from the window as we pulled away. When we returned home 2 days later, my wife told me Bruno hadn't moved from that window for 14 hours. Not to eat, not to drink, just waiting, watching that driveway. When we brought our daughter home, we did everything the experts recommended. Slow introduction, controlled environment, let the dog smell a blanket first, keep distance, supervise every second. We were terrified. Not of Bruno, really, but of the unknown, of that gap between what we hoped would happen and what could happen. That's when the moment happened, the one I started this story with. I'd put my daughter down for a nap, walked to the kitchen to make tea, and when I came back, there was Bruno, standing over the crib. My heart exploded into my throat. Every muscle in my body tensed, but I forced myself to watch. Just watch. Bruno lowered his head slowly. His nose gently touched my daughter's tiny hand, and then he did something that made tears stream down my face. He laid down, right there beside the crib, positioned himself so that anyone who wanted to reach my baby would have to go through him first. And in his eyes, I saw it. Not aggression, not possessiveness, pure, unconditional protection. From that day forward, they became inseparable. As my daughter learned to crawl, Bruno became her carpet, her cushion, her immovable object to pull herself up on. I watched a 130-pound Rottweiler let a 15-pound baby grab his ears, pull his jowls, and use his tail as a chew toy. And Bruno never flinched, never growled. He'd just look at me with those deep brown eyes as if to say, "This is my job. This is why I'm here." The first steps were Bruno's doing, I'm convinced. My daughter grabbed onto Bruno's collar, pulled herself up, and Bruno walked. Slowly, so slowly, adjusting his massive stride to match those wobbly baby steps. And when my daughter fell, Bruno was there, a soft, warm landing pad. Nightmares were different too. The first time my daughter woke up screaming, I ran to her room, but Bruno was already there, already in the crib. Somehow he'd figured out how to carefully climb in without breaking anything, just his massive body curled around my tiny, sobbing girl. Within seconds, the crying stopped. People in our small town ask me all the time if I was ever scared. The honest answer? Every single day. Not because Bruno ever gave me a reason, but because society had programmed me to fear, to doubt, to see danger in breeds instead of souls in individuals. But here's what I learned. Trust isn't about eliminating fear. It's about choosing love despite it. My daughter is 4 now. Bruno is getting older, gray around his muzzle, slower on the stairs, but their bond hasn't changed. Every morning, my daughter's first word is Bruno. Every night, Bruno won't settle until he's checked on his girl. They have a language that doesn't need words, a connection that transcends species. Last week, my daughter came home from preschool crying. Some kid had told her that her dog was scary, dangerous. I watched my 4-year-old walk up to Bruno, wrap her tiny arms around that massive neck, and whisper, "You're not scary. You're my best friend." This morning, I caught them in our backyard. My daughter had set up a tea party, and there was Bruno, sitting perfectly still, wearing a princess crown while my daughter served him tea and cookies. Here's what people don't tell you about dogs like Bruno. They teach children empathy, gentleness, and loyalty. But time is cruel. Bruno's vet told us we have 2 years left, so I'm documenting everything. Because one day, I want my daughter to know she was loved by a giant, chosen by a soul that had every reason to mistrust humans, but chose to love anyway. If you're still here, have you ever trusted something everyone else feared? Drop a comment, because we all have a Bruno in our lives, that choice everyone questioned, but we knew.